Hello, my name is Mark Blackburn, and I'm the president of Establishing Sustainable Connections, a local nonprofit here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about Juneteenth. Juneteenth means a lot to me. Juneteenth means liberation, freedom. Not just freedom from the slavery and the bondage, physical, shackled from our ancestors 400 years ago. It is freedom for the black community to be economically free, to be free in the spaces that we operate in, to bring some worth to us and to be innovative and creative. And so Juneteenth is very special for all of us in the black community. But one thing I want to challenge each and every one of you on is the question of, are we really free? Are we really liberated? As you think about, there's policies, procedures in organizations that really have some of the old historic tendencies and rhetoric that is not allowing individuals in the black community, or people of color rather, but people in the black community to really be free, to really be on equal terms with our colleagues and counterparts. So my challenge is to you as we celebrate Juneteenth today is that you, one, educate yourself, two, expose yourself to individuals who are different than you, especially people in the black community. As a black man, it's really upsetting that I have to explain myself. As an educated black man in this community, well respected, the fact that I cannot walk around without being looked at or stared at as to what am I doing here or what am I doing in this store. So yes, even though Juneteenth is a freedom, is liberation, that it really ended slavery, yet in this community, as a black man, a black person in this community, we still have some limitations that are imposed on us. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to take the time, educate yourself, expose yourself, empathize with those brothers and sisters who are experiencing some of the what society is giving us right now, some of this institutional racism. I want all of us to really reach out, learn, and find ways to eradicate these policies, procedures that are implemented in our organizations, in our communities, that will still put barriers on certain communities. So as you celebrate Juneteenth today, I encourage you to do more. I encourage you to speak out, and I encourage you to love one another. Have a great day and enjoy today.
Hi, I'm Denise Tucker, and I'm a member of Escape. What does Juneteenth mean to me? Juneteenth to me is taking a time for us to remember history. Not only black history, but white history, your history. It's our history. It was a time that was, very different than now. People were enslaved. And to think about that, even today, we are all still carrying some kind of chains, and we are still not free. Some of us may not be financially free. Some of us may not be mentally free. We all have our things. We are all seeking freedom. But to think about that time and to think that while the rest of the world was being given a chance to make more of themselves and to find out what their dreams were and are and what they could become, and to know that some people are still being held back, they had no notification of what was going on. It pisses me off to know that people were doing that for their own gain, for these farmers, slave owners. doing that for themselves. Well, you know what? In some ways, corporations are doing that today. Some people are doing that today. So it's a time for us to reflect on how we can break our own chains and what we need to do to help one another out. So on Juneteenth, I'm going to take a moment to reflect on what's holding me back. Who can I help? What kind of a difference can I make so that we aren't repeating our history?
Hello, I'm Harriet Yocum with Establishing Sustainable Connections, board member, community leader, and civic volunteer. What does Juneteenth mean to me? Juneteenth is an opportunity not only to celebrate, but also to speak out. Yet this year, our celebrations are tinged with sorrows. Our prayers go out to the families who have lost their loved ones, whose God-given rights to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness were so crudely snatched away. I think the significance and purpose of recognizing Juneteenth is something that all citizens should acknowledge, because if there is not a retelling or remembrance of the true history in this nation, we're doomed to repeat it again. The Day of Independence does not mark liberation for all. What Juneteenth symbolizes, by contrast, is a true day of freedom. That's something worth celebrating and continuing to fight for, not only among people of color, but also among everyone. As we celebrate today and pay homage to those leaders on those shoulders we stand, be reminded that there is much work left to do, but as we stand in unity, progress in America can happen.
Terry Liggins with the Hurdle Life Coach. Juneteenth is important to me because it reminds us that the history that we're being shown is not the full history and not the whole history. And I really appreciate the fact that we've got groups like Establishing Sustainable Connections really being intentional about being relentless in the full African American history. We just know that, I know that growing up here as a African American and going through traditional education, there's just things that they don't share, things that the traditional education system do not reveal about my whole history. And so I really place a great value on community education programs, minority-led nonprofits that are intentional about giving us the whole history, that we would be empowered, that we would know who we truly are, and that we wouldn't continue to be held in bondage psychologically like we are in some way still to this day. So for me, Juneteenth is the celebration of freedom, true freedom for African Americans in the United States. And for me, it's so important that I honor that with the pursuit for more liberty and more freedom, more justice for all. So thank you, ESC, for putting on this event. I'm a proud member, and I'll continue to show up and do my part. Thanks again.
Hi, my name is Brittany Lane, and I'm an Escape member. What does Juneteenth mean to me? To me, Juneteenth is a time for reflection and for celebration. It's a time to reflect on the founding of our nation and the fact that when our nation was founded, it was not free or equal for everyone. It's a time to celebrate the ending of slavery, a dark chapter that we are still seeing the impact of today. And it's a time for us to celebrate our nation moving closer to fulfilling its promise to us that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all.